It wasn't even that long ago when I said that AEW is ready to break through to the next level. Ever since going back on the road since early July, AEW has been on an absolute tear. This company is currently white hot based on every available metric like live attendance and TV ratings. It feels like time away from fans during the pandemic actually helped them in a strange way. Because remember how in every video during the pandemic I would talk about how great AEW was doing in the lead up to Revolution 2020? Well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think AEW is currently on course to blow that time period out of the water completely. Right now, they seem to be at their absolute best. This isn't pre-pandemic AEW. This is even better than that. This is a level above. And all this momentum that AEW currently has is building to what will surely be their biggest pay-per-view in company history, All Out 2021. This is Tranquilo Club, and this is AEW's unprecedented momentum heading into All Out 2021. You know, years ago, I thought we wouldn't live to see another viable competitor to the WWE after WCW's demise. Because let's face it, WWE isn't just a wrestling company anymore, they're a global multimedia corporation. We now live in an era where people growing up have not known any other major wrestling promotion other than WWE. Thankfully, I was lucky enough to live in the last days of WCW. So since the day I was born, I was raised with the mentality that WWE wasn't always the only game in town, and that's because I was a WCW kid because my dad was a WCW guy. So I always hoped deep down that there would one day be another big number 2 promotion that could sell out full-sized arenas, NBA arenas like WWE, a promotion that looked and felt major league. But I soon learned from seeing other promotions trying to compete with WWE that you can't just look and feel major league, you actually have to be major league. So for any company to try to compete with Vince McMahon's empire in this day and age, it would have to take something special. It would have to take some sort of once-in-a-lifetime alignment of the stars. And that's exactly what All Elite Wrestling is. The entire formation of AEW is quite serendipitous, to the point where sometimes when I'm watching it today, I still can't believe that it's real. I can't believe a viable big number 2 promotion is actually flourishing in front of our very eyes. This promotion is pulling attendance figures for wrestling in America for a non-WWE promotion not seen since WCW's prime. This past week's special episode of Dynamite, Fight for the Fallen, pulled near 7,000 people in attendance. Mind you, this is the same building that AEW visited in 2019 where they only pulled around 3,000 people and had to tarp off half of the arena. They came back 2 years later hotter than ever and nearly sold the entire building out. They were just short of a sellout. 7,000 fans for an episode of Dynamite is insane. To put it in perspective, TNA's best ever attendance in America was just a little over 7,000 fans, and AEW just managed to draw that many people for a weekly episode of their TV show. And guess what? The TV rating was huge as well, pulling 1,108,000 viewers in total and pulling a 0.45 demo rating. AEW was barely affected by the Olympics, and this was only the second time ever that they pulled over 1 million viewers 3 weeks in a row, with the first time being the first 3 episodes of Dynamite. So in other words, this is the hottest the company's ever been since AEW Dynamite's premiere. This, my friends, is a company with momentum. But unlike those first 3 weeks of Dynamite, AEW shows no signs of losing viewership or losing momentum this time around. As a matter of fact, all of this momentum feels like it's building up to catapult AEW into a different stratosphere, and it feels like this will all begin at All Out. Without a doubt, All Out 2021 feels like it's about to be AEW's biggest pay-per-view ever. And it's just because every story that they've been telling, every character arc that they've been building has been excellent for the most part. Despite Hangman's loss at Fight for the Fallen alongside the Dark Order, I'm still convinced that Hangman might be the one to face Kenny Omega at All Out. And the reason why I believe that is because AEW's storytelling with Hangman Page has always been very deliberate. everything happens for a reason, and I just refuse to believe that Hangman's title shot will be lost that easily without the Dark Order putting up a fight for him. Plus, Hangman and Dark Order's entrance at Fight for the Fallen fully convinced me that this match has to happen at All Out. And I say that because All Out feels like the biggest AEW show ever, therefore the best storyline going in AEW right now deserves to be on that big stage. The entire show would be elevated by having Omega versus Hangman for the AEW World title on that card. Hangman is so white hot right now that just the possibility of him winning the AEW World title at this show would make it must see. Now, whether he wins or loses this match is an entirely different question, and you could take that story in a lot of different directions. And I say this because AEW is gonna need to keep that momentum heading into All Out, because right now they're at an all-time high. You don't run the United Center in Chicago, Illinois, the home of the Chicago Bulls, unless you have momentum or unless you have something big planned, and in this case AEW has both. You don't run the Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York City unless you have momentum or you have something big planned, and in this case AEW has both. If you've noticed, over the next couple of months AEW is on course to run very big arenas. They're running the United Center, the Now Arena, the Prudential Center, and the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and as of recording it appears all of those shows will be in front of a packed house. This is unprecedented for AEW. Even during that amazing run in February 2020, they were still running smaller sized venues. But now we're really gonna see just how much momentum and popularity AEW has right now. And I think the episode that we'll be really telling is the August 20th episode of Rampage at the United Center in Chicago. In my last video, I talked about what I wanted Rampage to do right, and that was for it to keep the charm of AEW, which is variety and unpredictability. And it looks like Tony Khan is trying to make sure that those first few weeks of Rampage establish the show as an A show, not a B show. But this episode of Rampage, the second episode ever, has game-changing implications for AEW if all goes right. We all heard Darby Allin's promo after it was announced that Rampage would come to the United Center. He said that AEW is the best place to prove yourself, even if you think you're the best in the world. And the crowd went nuts. It was a goosebump-inducing moment. And that one line was the only thing Darby Allin needed to say to ensure that the United Center approaches a sellout once tickets go on sale. If AEW manages to sell, let's say, anything over 13,000 tickets for a show in Chicago with 3 weeks of build over one line, then that'll show just how much momentum they have. Like I said earlier, you don't book a massive arena like the United Center on such short notice unless you have momentum or unless you have something huge planned, and AEW has both. And the episode is being labeled The First Dance, which only adds fuel to the rumors and speculation. To think that AEW is gonna run a show in Chicago just a few weeks before they run a pay-per-view in Chicago is absolutely insane. It's definitely risky, but I learned a long time ago not to bet against this company, because what AEW doesn't do is tease something that they can't deliver on. But if you think they have momentum now, then just wait until that night in the United Center, because I have reason to believe that something huge will happen there. I have reason to believe that whatever happens at the United Center will ensure that All Out 2021 is AEW's biggest buy rate ever. I have reason to believe that maybe, just maybe, the impossible has happened and we will see CM Punk in AEW.